look here at Jade's garage. If you've been following along, you know that I've been putting more work into the Jade Mustang. This is a 68 coupe that I've done a bunch of work to this car over the past several years. And if you want to, you can look at the playlist and check out all the videos on this car. This was an original V8 car with factory air conditioning, automatic. It had manual brakes, manual steering, nothing special, but it did have a vinyl top on it. I've converted this car over to power steering, power brakes, but I'm going to put in a vintage air system at some point. And at this point in the build, I wanted to get this car into epoxy primer, and that's what I did in the last video. So you can go back and check that out. It turned out really nice. I did use the Summit brand epoxy, and I was trying to do some research as to whether there was any difference between brands, because people will say you got to use this product with the same company, manufacturer, and all that sort of thing. But I don't know for sure that that's going to make a big difference with the epoxy. So at this point, it's been a few days, and you can spray, or I could spray directly on top of this. There's a window of time between the application of the epoxy and when you can build up from there. And the window is 4 days, is what it said on the can, if I remember correctly, and I can review that. But it's been right at 3.5 days, somewhere in that range. So what I want to do, rather than just wipe it down and spray it, I'm going to take a red Scotch-Brite pad and just go over the whole car anyway. I just want to scuff it up a little bit, and this will give me a chance to check for any kind of buildup that may be in certain areas. If I need to, I may hit it with some 320, something like that, to try to smooth out any of that high stuff. And beyond that, that's where it's at this point. So again, this was Summit brand epoxy, turned out really nice. I did do a little bit of body work that needed to be done, just some minor things, filling in where I had welded on the quarter. And so there's a little bit of body work there, and then I shot some more primer on top of that. So again, I'm going to scuff this car down and make sure everything is good. And one other thing I need to do, and I didn't mention this previously, was in the previous video, I had talked about how this roof already had epoxy on it. When I sprayed that epoxy, I had also sprayed the cowl. In the last video that I did, I applied epoxy over everything here and the roof again, the door jambs and all that, and I did not go over the cowl again. The reason I bring this up, I'm going to be spraying the high build on, so I need to go over that cowl as well. I need to sand, scuff it up really good with the red Scotch-Brite, make sure there's nothing in the way or causing problems, and then move the tape line, or in that process move my tape forward so that I'm not getting into the engine bay. There's plastic on the front, and I just need to expose that cowl, get it prepped, and get it all ready for the epoxy or the high build. So that's going to be what this video is about. There may not be a whole lot of information or stuff shared. I'll probably do, some sort of a time-lapse video, and you can see, just going over the car. So maybe you'll get something out of it, maybe not, but I want to thank you for watching and being here nonetheless. car has been cleaned, as you saw, I used Windex to do the initial wipe down, blew it dry, and then used the JX 101 wax and grease remover and wiped it all down. So the only thing I have left to do is wipe it down with a tack cloth, and it'll be ready to spray. Now I will say I have the air conditioner running in the shop, so just trying to get some of the moisture out of the air, make it a little more comfortable. The temperature in here is about 70, 72 degrees. So with that said, I'm going to be spraying it with Shopline JP202, and that is a 2K primer surfacer. I will be adding JH302 as a hardener, and I will thin it down a little bit with JR507. Now I have the Shopline data sheet here, and it talks about what you can use, as far as pressures and guns and how many coats and all that sort of thing. It points out your gun setup needs to be 1.6 to 1.8 millimeter, and the Black Widow that I've used before, this is 1.7. So this is right in the middle, and as you can see, as I've shown before, I've got a water separator, I've got a regulator, and it talks about, in here it tells you the kind of pressures you should run with an HVLP gun, 10 psi at the air cap, and the HVLP gun, it says that 10 psi right here, and then a conventional gun 40 to 50 psi at the gun. So this is already within, exactly right for what they're calling for this 2K. Now, the only variables I see are, this JH302 is a high temperature hardener. That's all I have, and I know it's going to work because it's worked before. But you may look into, maybe a JH301 is another option, and I don't know what exactly, that temperature range needs to be, because it doesn't really. I don't know if it breaks it down here on the can or not, but regardless, it says right on it, high temperature. So anyway, the 507 is a slow reducer. And they do make, and I have it up here, JR508, which is a very slow reducer. So I'm going to just go with this one, and I'm sure it'll work fine. I am going to be using the PPS cups as I have before. I think I'm going to mix up at least, I'll mix up 2 containers and spray those out and get the car coated. And like I said, it calls for 2 to 4 coats. So I'll do at least 2. I may do a third. I'm not sure just yet. And what else is there? That's about it. So I'm going to put my respirator on. As you've seen, I've already shaken up this can on my little paint shaker. I'm going to check it to make sure there's no, buildup in the bottom of the can. If it is, I'll shake it again, stir it up, shake it again, make sure it's good to go. These little data sheets are really nice to have. If you go to a paint store, ask for them. They'll print them off for you, because they want you to have information too, because they want you to end up with a good result. So I have a bunch of these on here, from PPG, and just very handy. So anyway, just some information for you. So I'm going to get the mask on and start mixing this stuff up. I forgot to tell you something. I did want to mention this is mixed 4 to 1, and if you want to reduce it, it's typically 4 to 1 to 1. And also, it points out right here, compatible substrates that you can spray this on. So I'm going to read through all this so you know. Sanded and cleaned steel and aluminum, sanded and cleaned body filler, cured, cleaned, and sanded OEM and refinish coatings. Okay? And it gives you a list or breakdown of where it says JP202 may be applied over polyester primer filler, etch primer, plastic adhesion promoter, epoxy primer. It gives gray, white, and black, which is the options that you have for the epoxy from PPG. And JP202 may be overcoated with acrylic base coat, acrylic urethane base coat, acrylic enamel and activated, and JAU direct gloss acrylic urethane. Apply 2 full coats over sensitive finishes, completely overlapping substrate. So just some information for you if you're curious as to what this will cover, and I think we're good to go. Hope you like that. Hey, look at that. I kind of blend in with the car here if I take my gray shirt, you know, and the car kind of blends into the wall. It's here. Trust me. What was that? It was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where they had those white outfits on, and I forget what the scenario was. Something with a TV type of thing. You have to look it up. I don't remember, but I know there was something weird, and they all kind of blended in or something like that. But regardless, the JP202 is sprayed, and I'm very happy with it. It turned out really nice. Now, I'm going to let this car sit at least 2 weeks, maybe a month, before I do any kind of sanding on this car. And at that point, I'll put on guide coat and gently block sand it. Probably, I don't know what I'll use yet, 320 or 400, I don't know. But I want to get it and looked at and see if there's any, low spots or any imperfections that need to be filled, or if I can sand them out or whatever. And that's just going to take some time to get to that point. Along with that, I will test fit or refit the extensions, because I want to make sure they're going to fit right. I know there may be some filler needed on the side here, just a little, to get the transition the way I want it. I know that extension needs some work on it because it has an actual dent in the extension itself that I'll have to fill. And along with that, I will also need to do or apply seam sealer, because everywhere the quarter panels overlap and there's flanges that overlap on the rear here, or where this little corner brace is welded in, I want to seam seal those edges, get it cleaned up, make it look nice. And I'll add more seam sealer up here at the overlap in the corner where the deck lid corner is, and then where the sail panel meets the filler. And along with that, I'll add seam sealer at the rocker panel where it meets the quarter, and also where the quarter overlaps the B-pillar. I'll put some seam sealer on that as well, so it has a nice smooth transition and it looks good. That's about it though. I really can't do much else at this point, but I'm very happy that it's at this point. There are some more things that need to happen. I have to take the doors and finish taking that one door apart, getting the glass out of it, getting the seal off of it, where the glass meets the shell. Get that stuff out of the way. I have to strip down the painted areas of the inside of the door that's going to be body color. I have to strip that down, make sure it's all in good shape. There's a little bit of work on the left front fender that needs to happen, and I haven't decided yet what I'm doing for the right front fender. I know the fender that came on this car is no good, so I do have, there's a box over here that a buddy of mine has given me 2 fenders that were on his 68 Fastback. They're aftermarket, but if I can make the right fender work, I'll use it. If not, I'll do something else. But at this point, that's where I'm at. Now, the deck lid is also in primer. I did a video on that before, and I need to do the underside. I need to strip it all off and make sure it's all in good shape, and then prime it. So there's a variety of things that are still involved with getting this car closer to paint. That's just going to take some time. But that's how it goes. Everything takes time, and you have to dedicate your time to here and there, different things or whatever. So I hope you like this video. I hope it's giving you some viewpoint or some different perspective maybe on how things are done. I know there was comments made before on the previous video with the epoxy that I should be staying with the same brand, between the epoxy and the build and all that sort of thing. But if anything happens, if this has any effect at all, I will let you know. I try to share information. This has the Summit brand epoxy on it, the shop line PPG primer surfacer on top of that. And so if I see any reaction, I'll make a video. I'll show it to you and let you know, hey, this didn't work. But otherwise, I'm just going to let it go the way it is. See what happens. But that'll be the end of this video. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hit that like button, notification bell, all that sort of thing. And I'm getting pretty close to 40,000 subscribers And I want to thank all of you for being part of that, because obviously I can't do it myself, and having you along for the ride has been great. So thank you. As far as the next video, I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. I've got a bunch of things on the list of things I need to do between, you know, this car and the Brooklyn Pony and whatever. But I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. But when I do, you'll know. You'll see a notification and you can watch along. I will say that I do have those live streams that I'm doing Monday night at 7 p.m. I do a live stream, and then Wednesday afternoon at 3 p.m. I do a live stream for viewers that, you know, are pretty much in Europe. Let them get involved and be part of the process as well. But that's going to be it. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya. Hey gang, welcome back to another video here at Jade's Garage. In the previous video, I did a, nope, hold on, back that up, try again. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to say it. This mix is 4-to-1. And if you want to add reducer, it's 4-to-1-to-1. I may not go full 1, I haven't decided yet. But, you know, there's variables in there you can play with a little bit. But anyway, 4-to-1. Man, oh man, this is looking good. Now, I know there's a variety of ways to spray paint. I know there's a variety of ways to, you know, fumes.